Mike Craven here with Eric Morris, head coach, University of North Texas. Coach, when you take over a job, you walk into that building, what's the first thing that you're looking for or you know that you need to address or find out?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to just build relationships with the kids and, you know, to try to build some trust with one another. And that way, you know, you continue to grow and understand what they're about. I mean, I think it's, you know, during this era of college football with the transfer portal, NIL, everything that's going on, I think relationship building is at an all-time high. And so that was the first thing that we committed to as a staff. And at the same time, I mean, I had to build relationships with our current staff. I mean, there's guys that I'd known, but not on the level that I wanted to. And so I think those, you know, first 4 or 5 months are always about, you know, a lot more than X's and O's and getting people to buy in to my vision as a leader, and both our staff to buy into the vision and then our players ultimately. And so our staff did a phenomenal job of doing those things. Really excited where we're at right now, you know, 7-8 months into this thing and ready to get fall camp kicked off here in a couple weeks.
You were talking a little bit ago about putting together that staff and how many former Texas high school coaches that there are on that staff. How important is having those relationships with the state and the great coaches that are inside of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most important things that I looked when I got this job, and I wanted it to have a heavy footprint of guys that had experience in this state. And so I think there's 9 of them on our staff that have coached Texas high school football at one point or another. You know, some of them for 20 plus years as a head coach, super successful, and then others for a couple years and then moved on to GA roles and continued on through the ranks. And so, you know, I always like to find the best man for the job, right? And I try not to look at age or where they're coming from or you know, I don't care if they coached at Ohio State or Michigan and for 4 or 5 years and then got fired. Like, I want guys that understand what North Texas is about, what Texas high school football recruiting is about, how to build relationships, and then ultimately I think that's the best way to build our program from the bottom up.
Your dad was a high school coach. You know, obviously, how early on did you know this was the route you were going to take professionally?
Yeah, I would have loved to play a little bit longer. And, you know, I think, you know, fortunately for me, I was able to go up and play in the Canadian Football League for a little bit and injured a knee, had surgery up there in Canada. And I think that's really when I knew, like I love ball so much that I had to continue doing this, that, you know, I would have a void in my life if I wasn't around it each and every day. And I think it made me a part of who I was growing up. I mean, being around that structure, the discipline, the accountability that my dad instilled in us through sports was something that was important to me. And I want to continue to carry that on, you know, not only to my children, but love watching, you know, young men grow up and be better men after they play college football. And so, and then too, I'm compulsive and you know, I have a little man syndrome since I'm a little guy. And so I need to get some of this adrenaline out of me, and I can do that on Saturdays and with an intense game like football. And so, so yeah, I think it was right after, you know, I got done playing in Canada that I knew, you know, 100% sure that I want to continue to play football, and had a bunch of options and chose to come down here to Houston to start with Coach Sumlin and Cliff Kingsbury, and was a great start for me.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you won a state title in basketball with your dad as the head coach, and you hit the game-winning shot. Can you kind of walk me through that last play?
Yeah, I did. And the weird part about it now is my wife's not a sports person, but we beat Argyle, and now I live in Argyle. And so, you know, we'll see people at the grocery store, and all these people still want to talk about they don't like me because I beat them in the state championship with a buzzer beater. But yeah, we were down by 3 with like 12 seconds left in regulation. I hit a 3 as time expired in regulation, sent it to overtime, and then we got the ball with about 20 seconds left in OT, and we ran a little isolation play and had a nice little move, top of the key, hit one at the buzzer. And so just to do it with your dad, my little brother was on the team, my family there, is a memory that I'll always have. And I actually have all my rings, my bowl rings that I've won as a coach and a player that are up in my office right now are all in a box, and then up a little bit higher than that, actually. My office is my state championship ring as a player, a ring that I'll always cherish.
Then you go off to college, you play for, you know, the legendary Mike Leach. Can you tell the viewers a little bit of how you got your nickname there in Lubbock from him?
Yeah, so we were watching film, Good Ball, Bad Ball. You always watched it on Sunday. So Mike would point out, you know, a good play, a couple good plays, and a couple bad plays just to learn from in front of the whole team. A little bit of accountability, Bill Belichick stuff that he did. And so there's one play, I was on good ball, and I dipped underneath a linebacker, and when he paused the film, like it was one of those weird optical illusions. Like I looked incredibly small there. It was against Oklahoma. A linebacker was trying to hit me. And so I made a good play. The thing, when he froze it, somebody from the back was shouting how little I looked and used the term you probably shouldn't use. And only Mike Leach fashion, you know, he said, no, listen. Only elves can do magical things like this. A little bitty elf, like, and then from then on, I was known as the elf. He still called me the elf every time I called him. You know, hi elf, how you doing? What you up to? And he actually bought me an elf costume that next week on Thursday. So the rest of the week, 7 practices. You know, that was our best year ever. You know, and people were shocked when we got a little steam. National media would come out for Thursday practices, and I literally would practice on Thursday with a green jersey. I had green tights, and he put these elf shoes on me, and he made ears that came out of my helmet for practice, and like everybody was like, how can somebody do this? And so, but yeah, that's how it came about, and it stuck. And but forever grateful for Mike Leach.
And now you're part of the Mean Green.
That's right. So
Yeah.
I have an epic picture that I might share with you at some point of me in an elf costume that he bought me, that my mom sent me the other day when she was going through a memory box that has me in a green elf. I'm gonna find the right time to pull it out. People need to see it.
Yeah. And then lastly, you know, you were at Incarnate Word, and I think everybody looks at Incarnate Word now and sees the success that they're having, but I mean, that was one of the worst college football programs in the state when you took it over. How much pride do you take in seeing how they've kind of carried on that success, and what did you learn from helping build a program that basically was from scratch?
Yeah, I mean, I learned everything. We could sit here all day, and I think it was good for me for my first head coaching job at such a young age, to not be in a program that was under a magnifying glass, right? And to someone that they didn't expect a lot, and so there wasn't a ton of pressure, so I went with my gut on a lot of things. And you know, I think I hired great coaches, we recruited great players, and we developed them the right way and kind of built something special there. So super proud of what we were able to accomplish. Super proud, you know, GJ did a great job. He kept a lot of our guys on staff there and continued, like all last year, you know, they're in the playoffs and I'm on my phone watching it stream because those are all kids I recruited. And so super proud of where it's at. One of the first guy I hired is now the head coach there, Clint Kelo, who's a good friend of mine, who I have a great relationship with. And so, yeah, I always look back. You know, I remember going in schools recruiting for the first time that first spring there, and not many people even knew where University Incarnate Word was in the state of Texas. And now, you know, I think when you say it, and even on the West Coast, you know, last year when I was at Washington State, I mean, it's a brand that's become much more recognizable with all the success, and hopefully they can continue to have that success.
First year head coach, new conference for North Texas. You know, for North Texas alums and fans watching out there, what are the reasonable expectations or your expectations for what Mean Green football can be in 2023?
Yeah, I couldn't sit here and tell you that we will go into a game and expecting not to win it right now. Now, we understand that we're moving up a division, and there's great teams in there, and starting in the state of Texas and having UTSA's all their success and SMU. You know, it's going to be super tough to go in there and run the slate and win a championship. But that'll be our goal. You know, I didn't get into this business to maybe win or maybe get to the top. I mean, our players will go into every game expecting to win every game. And, you know, God willing, we can stay healthy, you know, find a quarterback that can compete at a high level. We have a bunch of skill coming back on both sides of the ball, some good pieces, offense and defensive line-wise coming back. So really love our roster, love the way they're working right now, and excited to go and compete our butts off every week.
All right, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, Mike.